Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Alexandar. It's been a turbulent year in the Balkans. From knife-edge electoral victories to mass protests, the region has not been spared. The impact of the geopolitical uncertainty resulting from Russian aggression against Ukraine while also facing issues all of its own. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, the post-Dayton Accord system was put to the test. Bulgaria went through something of an electoral roller coaster and is now adopting the euro. And Serbia's Alexandar Vučić continued to face pressure from grassroots protesters. All this and more will be discussed in detail with our special correspondent, Paweł Trzaskowski. Hello, Paweł. Good to see you.
Good to be here, Jonas. Hello.
Right, so let's begin. What would you say was the number one, most important event in the Balkans that essentially shaped 2025 for the region?
I would say elections in general, the ones that we had and the ones that we are expecting. Most importantly, I think, in Serbia, this is something that the protesters have been demanding from Alexandar Vučić, the country's president, and the ruling Serbian Progressive Party for over a year now. And, Vučić, over the course of the year, admitted that he will indeed call for snap general elections. About 2 days ago, he reiterated that there will be general snap elections in Serbia in 2026. We still don't know when, but they will be held. And student list is also expected to be present there.
So how much do we know when it comes to the opinion polls? How much of his support has been chipped away by this scandal?
Well, we don't have polls at the moment, but I think that Vučić senses that he needs to consolidate his electorate already. And this is why yesterday he had his yearly state address, and during this address he dedicated a lot of the time to not Serbia but Kosovo.
Kosovo, yeah. I mean, this is another thing that is worth discussing at this stage. We do actually have a soundbite from what President Alexandar Vučić had to say, so let's take a look at that.
As for the second question, I have never given up and I will never give up Kosovo and Metohija, even under the most difficult possible conditions. People simply need to know that. And thank you for asking me that question. People need to know that Kosovo declared independence in 2008, that in 2008 and 2009 the most powerful and strongest Western countries recognized Kosovo's independence, that literally in 2011 they established a border crossing towards central Serbia. Let me remind you during the time of Mr. Borko Stefanović that everything you have endured since then, enduring impossible pressures, is almost unbelievable and represents true heroism, above all by our people in Kosovo and Metohija, and if you will, by political leaders as well, who are facing impossible pressures.
That was Alexandar Vučić speaking out again about Kosovo, and that doesn't really seem to bode well to the gradual process of reconciliation, acceptance of separate statehood. Nothing like that in that part of the speech, at least.
I don't think that there is any reconciliation going on between Serbia and Kosovo as we speak now. Kosovo and Metohija, commonly known as Kosovo, became independent from Serbia in 2008, something that is still a bone of contention in the region, something that it's still very hard for Serbs to accept. And this is probably why Vučić refers to Kosovo in his state address at the end of the year, to consolidate the nationalist electorate. And as you rightly mentioned, there will be little reconciliation between the two countries. In Kosovo, we had parliamentary elections last week. After a year of political turmoil, the Vetevendosje party of Albin Kurti won and is going to form a government. And right after the victory, Kurti gave an interview in which he said he would like to see normalized relations with Serbia. However, he also said that Serbia is not a normal country, this is a direct quote in English, because this is a hybrid regime. So as you can see, it's very difficult to reconcile these two positions.
So tension's running high, but now that you've mentioned the situation in Kosovo, that was quite a stalemate, wasn't it? I mean, the last time that the country held elections before this December, that was February 2025, and since then they spent a couple of months not even being able to actually appoint a speaker in parliament, let alone form a government.
Correct. Eventually, they managed to appoint the speaker sometime around summer of this year, but they failed to form a government. The reason behind that was the fact that the victorious party, the Vedvendosje, that had been ruling independently for the last 4 years, they did not have the coalition capabilities, and none of the parties that got into the parliament wanted to form a coalition with them. And since Vedvendosje only scored 42% of the votes, they could not govern independently. However, after the snap vote last week, they received about 50% of the votes. They will be able to govern independently, which means some stability for the country that is also expecting presidential elections in 2026. However, these are in the indirect elections, so the president is chosen by the parliament. Vjosa Osmani is ending her first term, and she is expecting to secure the second.
So this automatically means that these elections will also most likely happen without drama, since we actually do have a degree of parliamentary stability. Now, speaking of parliamentary stability and elections, one country springs to mind, doesn't it? Bulgaria.
That is true. So yes, political stability is not there. In January this year, a coalition government formed in Bulgaria, and the main objective of this government was to introduce Bulgaria into the Eurozone.
So this is still happening, right?
It is still happening
without
tomorrow.
the government.
Yeah, so tomorrow Bulgaria will start using euro officially as a currency. It is another step for Bulgaria into full European integration, because almost exactly a year ago, on the 1st of January 2025, Bulgaria became the full member of the visa-free Schengen zone, along with Romania. So now they accepted the euro. If you look at it from the perspective, you could see that everything goes well. However, as you mentioned, political turmoil, I think that will be the 9th government that has collapsed in Bulgaria in the last 5 or 6 years, depending on...
The elections are almost like a national pastime by now.
You could say it like that. Yes, we still don't know officially when the elections, the general elections, snap general elections will be held. Most likely it will be March next year, March 2026.
There is still obviously discussion about what is it going to do to the economy. I mean, some people are afraid rising prices and inflation are going to hit their wallets hard.
We'll have to wait and see then for the introduction of euro and see what the impact of this has on the Bulgarian economy. Yes.
And on its politics. I mean, you know, populists are going to have a field day if something goes wrong. Hopefully it does not actually happen that way. But we also need to take a look at Bosnia and Herzegovina, because there was some drama there, which has kind of petered out, didn't it, with Milorad Dodik? But still it does show just how tense these relations
Yeah, I think Bosnia and Herzegovina as a country had the most volatile year of all. It all started when Milorad Dodik, the leader, the then president of Republika Srpska, one of the constituents of Bosnia and Herzegovina, he was given a verdict by the Bosnian court preventing him from holding public office, so effectively, forcing him to step down from the post of president of Republika Srpska. However,
banning him for 6 years, right?
Exactly, yes.
Effectively being, completely removed from the political scene for that period.
And also giving him 1 year prison sentence, which in Bosnia can be exchanged for a financial fine act.
Which he did. So he's staying out in the open. And initially, he was quite belligerent. He was saying, "I will not go down without a fight."
Yes, that's true. So he decided...
Does it really go that way, though?
So he decided to defy the ruling for almost half a year, which sparked a lot of fears that the Dayton peace agreement will be no more in Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, he eventually accepted the ruling, reportedly because of US intervention. Washington decided to lift the sanctions it had imposed on Dodik before, and that, it is reported, convinced him to actually accept the ruling. However, he managed to install his stand-in, Siniša Karan, as a president of Republika Srpska, because Republika Srpska held snap presidential elections in November this year. Siniša Karan, who is Dodik's trusted man, took over, and despite the fact that Dodik has a ban on holding public office, he managed to install his, let's say, surrogate.
So he could actually still be controlling things to some extent from the back seat, so to say, right?
That is correct, and we'll see how it works out, because Bosnia and Herzegovina is also holding general elections in autumn this year. General elections in which the whole gamut of politicians is going to be replaced, because it's not only the president of Republika Srpska, but also the president of the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the tripartite coalition that governs the country.
Paweł Trzaskowski, our special correspondent. The Balkans was our guest today on TVP World. Thank you very much for being here with us today, and of course for telling us, all the intricacies of politics in that region.
Pleasure.
And I'm Alexandar. You're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news updates and commentary.